Hello, Bingies, and welcome to BingeWorthy, part of the Geekish Network. We binge a show to let you know if you should. I'm your host, Rakai, Noob from the Ville. Hello, Governor. And today I have with me my two esteemed guests. I have Mr. Johnny Randolph. Say hello to the people.
What it do, Benji's?
Okay, it was short and sweet. All right, I like it. All right, I expected more. All right, and we have the OG, triple OG, one of the founders of the Geekish Network himself, Mr. Charles Babb. Say hello to the people, sir.
What's up, people? How y'all doing today? How y'all doing today?
Okay, he's feeling good. That's right. Holla. Okay. Anyway, if you're an audience member, feel free to communicate with us. Today, we're going to let you know if you should watch Apple Plus's Mythic Quest, and we're talking about specifically season 4, actually the series finale. So should you invest your time and watch how this series ends? In season 4 of Mythic Quest, the team in Mythic Quest confronts new challenges as the video game landscape changes, with rising stars, clashing egos, and blossoming relationships. Ian resigns, while Poppy considers moving to the Netherlands, but David offers her the creative director position. The season explores work-life balance, the impact of AI in game development, and the team's individual growth and struggles. Now, Rodney will post the cast members' ratings for Apple Plus's Mythic Quest. And while Rodney posts the ratings, I want to let you know that we rate the show at the beginning, and then we rate it again at the end, just to see if anyone's had a change of heart as we discuss it in their rating. So, Rodney, sir, go ahead and post those wonderful ratings. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we had too many meals and okay, so we had too many meals. So 2 3s, and actually I was a full meal. I had a 4. So 2 3s and a 4. We're at a high 3. So as of right now, we're midway there. So we're in between a mini meal and a full meal. So Randy, give your reasoning for your mini meal rating.
Okay. So Mythic Quest and Ted Lasso, it was the show that made me decide that I wanted to renew my Apple Plus subscription. I never even thought about at the time renewing Apple Plus. I was like, I already got enough stuff. But when I saw Mythic Quest and Ted Lasso, I was like, yeah, I'm in for the long haul. And I've loved every season that we had. And I don't know if this is a consequence of having too high expectations, but for some reason in season 4, and I know why, it just didn't hit with the same punch. The journey that I have for these beloved characters that I've treasured over the last 4 years, I didn't necessarily like the arc that they were going through, and I didn't like the place where it took us to the end. I'm curious to know if this season finale, because it was announced late, if the season finale was known going into the season or if they learned it after filming had concluded. But anyway, I felt it had an impact on the overall quality of the show. They had some standout moments, as Mythic Quest is known to do, but it didn't shock me. It didn't grab me and resonate with me the way previous seasons had. So that's why I gave it a mini meal.
Okay. All right. I get it. I get it. Um, Chuck, why was your rating also the mini meal?
I think I did come with high expectations. The first three seasons were chef's kiss. They were amazing. Uh, as a game developer, I resonated really well with those. And don't get me wrong, I resonated with season four, but I kind of felt like the main characters were annoying more so than anything else. I felt like I was annoyed of everybody. They gave me more of the same, which is not a bad thing, but it feels like it was on tilt a little bit. It was like a little bit more exaggerated than normal. Um, it reminds me of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but they have always been the same characters. So I expect them to be self-absorbed in the characters they are. And for this show, I think they're the best characters, but they like exaggerated a little bit more. Give me a little bit more of that. And I felt like they gave us too much of it. And the story, overall story, wasn't strong at all. I thought they were all highly accomplished game developers trying to maintain that high level accomplishment, and they never explored the other stories that go along with that. Like I thought Dana was gonna have a really good story against the young girl that was hotter than her who won the award, but they kind of just dropped that ball on that. They put it in Danny Pudi's lap and let it go with the story of her competing against this other girl. Maybe that was something they wanted to explore for season five, but they never got there. They never got there.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Okay. Um, I gave it a four, a full meal, and I think that was nostalgia, maybe. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I
I can see that.
enjoy the dry wit and the type of humor that's delivered. And I must admit, I've only watched bit episodes here and there, and stuff online for Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's funny, but I've never watched it. It's kind of like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Every little clip I see of Brooklyn Nine-Nine is funny, but I've never actually watched the show. And Always Funny, Always Sunny in Philadelphia is the same way to me. So Mythic Quest I enjoyed a lot because I enjoyed the premise, the content. It was a game developer's office. So, being a lover of video games and in the industry and stuff like that, this was great. The little stuff behind the scenes. But I think this was also the first season that, even though it comes out weekly, this is the first season that I stopped watching around episode 4 or 5. For us to be ready for today's show, I had to hurry up and watch. Like I truly binged the last 4 or 5 episodes to get ready for the show because I hadn't finished watching. This is the first time, first
Mm-hmm.
season. I stopped in the middle. Um, I enjoyed moments, and we'll get to those in a few, but that was I guess my initial reason for giving it a full meal. I knew it wasn't binge worthy, but I didn't know if I should slide low on the scale. So we'll
Okay.
revisit that at the end. Um, so one of the things about when we go into these shows, we always think about how they balance the plot and character development. I mean, we kind of know the world that they built here. They've stayed in the same world. What do you feel? I heard you guys just say the story wasn't that strong, but what do you think? What was the problem, I guess, with the character development this season?
I think they try to go interpersonal with each other and based on relationships inside the studio more and not have an overarching meta story to go with it. We're 1 minute they're building the game, next minute they're trying to save the game, and now as the game is successful and everything, and the big bad corporations coming in now that they didn't know what to do with that. And I felt like he spent a lot of time with Poppy and Ian fighting each other, or him making her his work wife in their relationship, and him leaning in on that, and how much he needed her. And when he never ever really felt that way in the first three seasons, he always needed her, but he wasn't like following himself to make sure she was always there. And how she was gone on and she was pregnant and had talk about her sister a little bit and her family. I thought that was a powerful episode, but I needed more of that. They're going to go into personal,
Mm-hmm.
like how she felt about it. Then they had the detour episode with Dana and Rachel getting engaged. I thought that was interesting. I
Yeah.
like murder mystery stories, but they did
Mm-hmm.
nothing with it after that.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, if you're gonna go into personal, go into personal. Go for it.
Mhm. And I just
What
didn't
about
like
you,
where they
Randy?
took. I didn't
Yeah.
necessarily like where they took us with the characters. I didn't like Dana and Rachel's individual arcs. They didn't.
Mm.
They didn't. It didn't mean anything. It was almost like it was a time filler. If we
Mm-hmm.
were going to explore Dana's need to be a better gamer, then we should have really leaned all the way into that, not kind of stop us midway. I don't want to do too much spoiling. And Rachel's story, I just thought, I was like, it was weird. It was just really weird to me. And I thought that it got the Ian and Poppy thing. There's always a dynamic with them. I felt as though they were looking at graphs and chart was like, oh, we need more of Poppy and Ian working together, or work life, or like a work, like Chuck said, a work wife to bring it on home instead of letting it unfurl naturally. So for me, the plots and the stories, it just didn't seem natural to me, and it didn't seem where these characters should have went of what we've experienced over the last 3 seasons for me.
Can I interject something else too on top of that?
Go ahead.
Joe had some of the best character art. Joe's arc was the best of all the arcs out there. She wanted to be an assistant. Dana putting that battery in her back. You can be something more, something else. And she didn't know what she wanted. And then she realized her job is to be an assistant. I think they ruined Danny Pootie's story. He really did nothing. It was, and I think David's story. I think David's story was weak. He was like a petulant child the whole entire time, and it just didn't resonate for me. And I was like, "Give me something."
And it could have been really good after one episode pertaining, I thought, to a card game. I
Hmm.
thought if we would have got the David from that episode later, as in he had an arc to what we've seen him in the past, I thought that could have really helped the show. But it's
Hmm.
like they just abandoned it and he went back to being
Yeah, he reverted right back to
he
everything.
reverted right back. So like what was for me, the question was, what was the point of showing us this scene if you were just going to have him go back to being kind of the person that Chuck was just talking about?
Yep.
Um, it's amazing, and sometimes I like how we are so in tune with things, um, because everything that Chuck just said was exactly what I was going to say. I hated what they did with Danny Putty this
Yeah,
season.
Brad.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I between him and Joe were my two favorite characters on the show. Just because, like you said, you put a battery in their back and they go, and they had very specific purposes. And it's like this season, all of that was lost. They had moments, and just like you alluded to that card game, even though it really should have been about Brad, it was about Danny. But that was unsatisfying on how they did that. And then they went back to work the next day and everything was the same except for the consequences of that game. And I was just like,
Hmm.
Yeah, why'd you show it to me?
ah, you know, Dana's individual arc, and I agree with you, Randy, about I didn't like their individual arcs. Like, um, when Dana went to the conference and dealt with what she did at the conference, I thought she was going to for real lean into that and go scorched earth,
Yeah.
but it went nowhere.
Hmm.
When her girlfriend, her fiance,
Rachel.
Rachel.
when
Hmm.
Rachel went on Capitol Hill, that scene in itself and her running her mouth was hilarious, but it did nothing. It went nowhere. And that's
Hmm.
what we had. We got a lot of things. It's almost like we're gonna write this episode, and it's like halfway through, there's like, oh, squirrel, they got distracted. They went and did something else. I don't know if AI wrote the rest of the episode. It's just like, what
Hmm.
what are we doing? And as far as Ian, I couldn't put my finger on it until y'all just now said it. The relationship between him and Poppy seemed forced. It seemed artificial. And I think they thought that it was going to be like that because Chuck described it perfectly like a work wife. But the relationship with Storm threw a monkey wrench in that. And it was weird because Ian came off on not that he's jealous or whatever, but it was very weird. It was just weird.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
don't
at the end of
know.
the day,
And
I like Storm. Storm was dope.
I am so appreciative that Storm was actually a good guy, and he wasn't, because I was just like, any minute the other shoe's gonna drop, he's gonna be a schmuck, he's gonna be a piece of shit, you know. He's,
Mm-hmm. And you
all
have this
along he'd
piece
been
of shit's
sleeping with
baby.
Poppy's sister or something like it, but no, it never happened. Like he was a
Mm-mm.
good guy the whole way through. I was like, damn, I like this dude.
It was excited for her to come to the
Well,
Netherlands.
I
Yeah.
was excited about that too, and I thought that making him a good guy was a better choice than having anything drop, because
Mm-hmm.
he does though. I don't think there's a romantic relationship between Ian and Poppy at all.
No,
Mm-mm.
no,
Any
I don't know.
and based on everything that we know about them, there is nothing about it. But they were cheating on each other. They were cheating on each other in regards to like her not telling him about it. I felt like she was cheating on him. She was cheating on his work relationship with him, and I thought that that made it interesting for me. Like, because you get into lockstep with certain people, and when they don't do certain things, you like, wait. I remember I used to go to somebody all the time, and one time they went to lunch with somebody else and didn't tell me. I was like, they just cheated on me. They just literally cheated
Wow.
on me. They like, and I've seen things like that happen. So I like the fact that Storm came in with such a good person, and it threw that monkey wrench in. And I was interested in seeing how they were going to reconcile their relationship to the end of the season. But I felt like that plot kind of got abandoned too.
It's funny because I don't know. I guess as far as work wife type shit, I never really felt like I really didn't give a. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Um, but I mean, to be honest, for a lot of those years while I was teaching, hell, at two of them places where I was teaching at, for a lot of them years, hell, my actual wife was my work wife. She worked where I worked, so it wasn't a problem though. It's weird. I know people be like, "You work where your wife worked?" Like that's it. It wasn't a problem. I didn't see her all day. We did different stuff. When we talked about people or talked about our day, I knew exactly what she was talking about. I knew who she was talking about. Like, yeah, yeah, she is crazy. That bitch is great. Now, so it was made it easy for that, but
Mm.
I don't know. I agree with y'all that I don't know. I don't like it. So, okay, so we had these issues with the plot. We had these issues with character development. Do you think that there were any standout performances in the season that at least elevated the show? I mean, even if they didn't carry through, they didn't follow up on what were there any standout performances this particular season?
The one-off episode with Iron's son. I don't know if I'm telling
Booty
too much.
shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I thought the episode was interesting. It was a throwaway episode. It was filler for sure.
I thought it was filler, but he annoyed me so badly. And I think that was his job because his son has always kind of annoyed me. So I feel
Hmm.
like the actor came through on what the assignment was. So I thought that was good. Like, cause that kid, I was like, oh, he's annoying. And by the end of that episode, I was so annoyed with him and his whole arc, but I thought that was the whole purpose of it. So that kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, I thought his show was very interesting. I thought it
Yeah.
was like who he was. I also wanted
Mm-hmm.
to talk about Pootie Shoe and what he wanted and growing up. And I was like, this speaks to this generation. That speaks to the
Hmm.
generation of content creators. And I understood how he felt. How he did things, not so much, but I get it.
Yeah, I think that was what I appreciate about the episode. Um, the consequences after his his challenge
Hmm.
were highly satisfying to me.
Yes.
Hmm.
Um, so that made my day. but the dynamic there between Ian and his son, and the son and the mother were extremely interesting. It was actually kind of alarming too, and I was like, wow.
Because
Um,
Hmm.
Ian's a bad father and a bad
uh,
ex-husband and
yeah,
an overall bad boss. And we didn't necessarily get that for them this season.
Yeah,
yeah.
Ian's
Um,
not a good person. You like him, but he's not a good person.
yeah.
Never been. And that was
If
where kind of the comedy came from.
hmm and if you
yeah,
watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia, he's the same person. One thing I did like in this series, this season, Charlie Day made an appearance.
yes, yes.
Charlie Day's
In that
appearance was,
same in that same episode we're talking
oh
about.
man, that made me so excited. He was in a Pootie Shoe episode, and
Yeah,
I love Charlie Day.
yeah,
You
yeah. I think
know,
Charlie Day is awesome.
so
Um,
so
here's what I'll say, and I'm getting ready to go a bit off the beaten path because I'm talking about standout performances. The funny thing about this is that during the season, Mythic Quest announced that they were releasing another series called Side Quest,
Mhm.
a 4 episode anthology
mhm.
that centered still heavily around everything about Mythic Quest, but really didn't have any of our actual main Mythic Quest characters in it. And it was episode 2 in the side quests that stood out for me. So as far as you're talking about standout performances, and it's centered around a black owned comic book shop,
Oh.
and
Mhm.
that episode, I felt like I was seen. That episode was amazing to me,
Mhm.
and probably is one of the stronger standout performance. I mean, it's pure damn chaos, but it was excellent, about showing the community and what entails when you are of the blurred space, when you're of the black geek space. Um, and that was a standout for me. And that particular episode was more of a standout than any episode this season. So,
Agreed.
I haven't seen that one.
oh man, you will love it.
Yeah. I gotta
You,
I gotta check that one out.
you didn't watch it?
No, I never seen I didn't see Side Quest.
Okay,
Yeah, so
yeah,
Side Quest is interesting. It's four
yeah.
episodes.
Yeah. I saw the
I
first episode. I didn't see the second one.
I
And
thought the
So right.
first
maybe
episode was pretty good.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty good. Really strong performances. The second episode was amazing. The third episode, the fourth episode, I mean, it
Yeah,
happened. Um, but I thought the first two were the better two.
Yeah, I like the
Um,
first one. I didn't see the
they
second.
were the better too. I think the second one was probably the best episode they had.
yeah,
That's why I put in the chat and
yeah,
BingeWorthy chat. Everybody sees second episode two because it's so
yeah.
good.
You're absolutely right.
It was so
Yes.
good, so good.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
check that one
I
out.
feel like it defined what blurred is and
Yeah.
Okay.
how we survive in this world.
And the interesting thing too, except for the guy who was buying for his stepson, I have found myself being every character in that particular shop at a different point in my life.
Okay.
Like it's a really good episode.
Yep, yep, yep. I love the
Um,
fact that side quests revolved around Mythic Quest, though the actual game, where it all revolved around it.
hmm
I did
Now
like that.
I usually ask this question about, how's the show handle pacing and cliffhangers? And actually, we had something very special, and I don't know of this ever happening before. Um, it did end on not really a cliffhanger, but it left where it definitely alluded to some things were going to happen around season 5. And then the audience, we hear that Mythic Quest has been canceled.
Hmm.
So they went right back in, and Randy said it earlier. Did they already have some shots on deck? Did they go back in and shoot? When did they find out that they were going to be canceled? So they went in and reshot some new stuff to give us a brand new ending. So it came out 1 week with the original ending.
Hmm.
All right, look for season 5. And then right after the show dropped, they announced it's going to be canceled. And they said, okay, well, we reshot some stuff and we're going to drop it again next week with a brand new ending to end the series off. I ain't never heard of that before. So
Hmm.
let's talk about that. What was your thoughts on that? Or as a matter of fact, Chuck,
Yep.
no, because I don't want to give it away. So because I remember I had to have you because I think when I saw it,
Hmm.
I saw I
Randy saw
saw the
both the
I
endings.
didn't see both endings. I think I saw the updated ending,
Hmm.
Okay.
but I didn't see the original ending.
Randy, you saw
Um,
both endings,
I
right?
saw both. I saw both of them.
all right, so can you speak to that? Like the
Don't talk.
changes in those
Hmm.
Yeah.
two, not without giving spoilers.
Yeah.
Can you speak to the changes in that too? And was it
They were
effective? Was it
they were vast, completely different. And if either one had had, if we, for example, if we get a season 5, it would send the show in completely different directions based
mm-hmm,
on the changes for each of them. So it's like this path leads to one way, this path leads to another way.
uh-huh.
And you can't overlap them really at all,
Yeah.
from my perspective. I hated the first one. I did.
Okay.
Hated the first one. And people may disagree with me. And the reason that I hated the first one is for some of the reasons that we've talked about earlier. It felt forced and it wasn't who these characters were for the entirety of the series for me. And to go down that path, I was like, why?
Okay, wait a
Uh
minute. So by the sounds of that, if I'm thinking, then maybe I did see the first one. Maybe I haven't seen the updated ending. So I,
yeah,
without doing
I get you.
spoilers,
I don't want to spoil anything too.
without doing spoilers, it leads to something between two characters that seem way off. And I was like, wait,
Right. Right.
what? And
That's the
even though
original.
there's like,
Yeah, that's
but
the
it's still
original.
that's the original.
That's the original.
Okay, then I saw that. I didn't know. I saw the original. I haven't seen the
Okay.
updated one then.
Okay. The update one, it's anticlimactic, but if there were going to be another season, it would send it in a completely different direction from that original one. And that's how I would describe it.
Okay. Chuck, you've seen both, right?
Yes,
Check
I
you on
saw
mute.
both.
Your
Okay.
I
mic's
saw
your
both.
okay. So what do you think? As I can't really
Uh,
comment on this because I didn't see both. So
the first ending I thought was out of character
mm-hmm.
and weird. Um, I guess it probably would have made for an interesting season 5. But the second ending, the final ending, I thought it was good. I thought it was solid. I thought everything made sense and it worked. You know, it made total sense at the second ending.
Okay.
I didn't like the ending overall at all. In comparison where I wanted to stop at,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to stop at the airport. I think if
Okay.
the airport scene was the last scene, it'd have been perfect.
Okay. Okay. All right. And I'm just trying to think of because I don't know how much changed with between the original ending, which I'm pretty sure is what I saw based on what you guys said,
Hmm.
and the other one. I'm gonna have to go back and find it and watch the new ending because I haven't seen it yet. But
Hmm.
okay. So no, usually our last question is
I wonder
uh
what made them change it though.
Because there was not going to be a continuation.
yeah, there's no point even getting there because kind of like you
Okay.
said, it was so out of character. It was one of those things of like
Okay.
It was
how
set
did
up for
we
the
get
next
here?
season.
Like I
Yeah,
saw like where they were kind of weaving the story there, but for that to be the conclusion, I was like,
Yeah. Okay.
what?
yeah.
Um, even though we know it's canceled,
Hmm.
would you have wanted the show to continue? I mean, I know that the fervor online was people are pissed off that it was canceled. Based on
Uh,
this season, do we want more of Mythic Quest?
the way that it ended, I say no. I think this ended at the right time. I think the characters they ran out of story when I went through a whole season and then feel like there was a story for the whole season It felt like a bunch of small episodes, vignettes of people just met mucking around in the office.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work. It was like they tried to play the office
Mm-hmm.
and didn't nail the office.
Mm. Okay. What about you, Randy?
And I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying, Chuck. The only thing for me is like I've loved this show for so long. I felt like I want to give them a chance to right the ship. I felt like they needed one more. I felt like I'm trying to think.
This
Like
is rare from
let's
you.
if Jordan
It is.
and I don't like talking about Jordan at all. But
That's all right. We love Jordan. Come
let's
on
say
now.
the Bulls had lost that second three-peat to Utah. Like, do you bring the band back together for just one more season to see if you could get another chip? And that's the
I,
only thing that makes me say, based off of what we got, I'm like, yeah, it was time for it to go. But it was like, I wanted it better for Mythic Quest. I thought Ted Lasso was such a solid ending. Was like, yeah, if Ted Lasso ended right here, I'm good with that. And we've all seen a lot of shows where it's like, I'm good with that. With this, I feel like Mythic Quest did not get the ending that it deserved. So maybe we could give it another shot to see if we could write this ship. And that
okay.
would be the only reason I would want to do it is to
Wow.
write the ship.
Wow.
I actually agree with that. And it's only for redemption.
Wow.
It's
Redemption.
only
Yeah, that's
for
it.
redemption. Um, this season did not hold my gaze. It did not hold my attention. Um, and here's what I thought of in this season. It was like The Wire season 2. You get The Wire season 1 is phenomenal. Um, and then you get the season 2 where they're on the docks. And I know that some people love that season. That hey, it lost me. Thank God we came back and we got the other stories, the other parts of the city that we got. And I was like, okay, now I see it as a complete piece. And I know Mythic Quest is not that, but I do. Okay, so we had a bad season. We had a down season. I think it makes a difference too if you know going into the season, like Ted Lasso, they knew going into season 3, this is it. So this is our swan song, and we're gonna write and stories and do it, and we're gonna end it the way we want to end it. Whether you like it or not, we know that going in. If you find out mid run and now you got to rewrite stuff or do stuff, or you planned on doing this stuff, or you do these half-ass episodes because you're going to make the payoff next season, which I still think is an awful idea. I I just think if they knew, okay, this is the swan song, this is the final season, then maybe the episodes would have been better. I know that Rob McElhenney is off jet setting the world, being saying trying to grow his global brand to $1 billion like Ryan Reynolds or whatever. So I get it, and maybe he didn't have enough time to focus here and still focus on his main breadwinner on Always Sunny, and I don't know, but I just think if they had one more season where they knew this was the end, it would have been done right. Maybe. It
And
might have
that's
been more
I'm with you,
trash,
Rico. Yeah. The
It might
shot
have
of
been more
redemption.
trash.
The shot of
Yeah.
redemption. Yeah.
And like Chuck always says, you gave me 10 episodes of damn near trash this time. I don't know if I could trust you with 10 more,
That's
maybe that you're gonna get the
I'm not saying
that's
you're
why I'm
not
shocked
right,
by
but it's just a
y'all.
part of me.
I'm shocked by both of you all right now.
Why? It's a part of me
Because
that just wants
you
to
both of
say.
you all are the ones in the story when you have when it's good. And then y'all like, nah, we need a
But it
redemption
wasn't
arc.
good is the problem. This season wasn't
But
good.
if it goes bad, don't continue it. Y'all are both of y'all are
I,
both that guy.
we are. I'm not saying we're not, but
yes, but
Wow.
to be honest though, it's not like this season was cringeworthy. It's not like
nah.
it was a snack. It was very mid. And when you gave me 3 seasons of full meal to binge-worthy type seasons, and then you give me a mid-ass season like this, it's like, well, damn, what
Quit.
happened? Hmm?
Quit.
Like
Quit.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? But sometimes
Quit.
no, it's like all right, think about it like this. Like if Denzel's getting a little long in the tooth, now he's giving us a lifetime of great stuff that he could live on. But maybe his last movie it wasn't working. He gave us, the Equalizer
Gladiator 2.
4, and we was like, oh my
He gave us
God.
Gladiator 2, and we need
He gave
something
us
better for
Gladiator
him.
2, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna come
And he's
back.
quitting.
Just yes, and he's quitting after he does Black Panther 3, after he does Othello, which they getting $1,000 a ticket to see him in Othello, and I hear he is killing it. That's you need to go out, your parade, the ticker tape parade, you need to go out on a high. I,
Yeah,
if
that's been my
if you're
only reason.
capable of a high.
Right.
Here's the thing: if you're capable of a high,
Man,
and the thing is, I don't know if Mythic Quest was capable of giving us more, giving us of what we loved. I don't know. I would have loved to have seen it.
man.
You gave us 75% of excellence. That last 25% you turned in is like, ooh,
Right, yeah.
Man, let me tell y'all something. Y'all are tripping me out right now. I
Why?
think I'm in the multiverse. I think this is some multiverse stuff right now. Misters, I'll quit if it starts going bad. You should never do it again. Let it
I,
go. Let it
I say all
go.
the time I want stuff to end, but like
no,
not like
no,
Oh
this.
no,
man.
because you got to be honest.
We
You got to be honest, Chuck. When we start talking like that, that's like we're reviewing some show. It's season 4, season 5, or something, and it was like, you know what? They should have probably ended this 3 seasons ago. We got the
no.
next season, and we was hoping for redemption, and we got more
Randy
mid, and
said
then
it
they
for
gave
Arcane. And
No,
Arcane gave us two
no.
bangers.
I was saying, I said, no, I said all the time. I said all the time. When we get
He said it
something
was
that's so great.
Arcane.
No, no. I said when we get something that's so great and it just nails every point. And I'm like, if it doesn't give me another one, I'm good with that. I always say that. If it doesn't give
Well,
me
they
another
didn't give you
one,
another one. I thought
huh?
you would be
but
good with
but
this.
but but there's a slight
I'm
difference in
not
that.
good with how
They
this is
went
going out.
they went into season 2 knowing that that was the end of it, and now that you have put a definitive pin on it, you went into it knowing that it's the end. You put a pin on it and said, "This is it. We ain't making no more." And then people say, "Well, no, we want a season 3."
Y'all
I
say whatever y'all need
understand
to
Randy's
say.
point for that. It's like, no, no,
I'm ready to revoke this
don't
thing.
mess with it. Don't
I'm
mess with
ready to
it. It's
rewrite
our
this thing. I'm ready to rewrite this thing. Y'all say whatever y'all saying to justify y'all's hypocrisy. I'm ready for the
it's
rewrite this
it's
thing.
not hypocrisy. Go
I
ahead.
don't
Let's
think
All
it's
right.
rewrite this
hypocrisy.
thing.
What's your rewriting? What's your rewriting?
I'm going to stick with a mini meal.
Okay. All right.
I'm
Uh,
with a mini meal too. I'm sticking with a mini meal.
and I am actually going down to a mini meal. I think I was kind of unsure where I was going to rate it, and I gave it a full meal to begin with, but yeah, it really was a lot of mid. It had some funny moments. It had some points, but it was far and few between. And just like I said, the best thing that I saw from Mythic Quest this season was actually on side quests. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So needless to say, our rating for BingeWorthy, we are
Mini
rating
meal.
this a mini meal, which is middle of the road. So um you can take that however you like that. So if you choose to watch Mythic Quest, just know that we rated it as mid. So it's not a terrible watch, but it doesn't mean it's a great watch either. So you know, we do want to thank Digital Click. They provide all of our digital marketing needs, all of our graphics. They do a wonderful job. I hope that you guys too are checking out the shorts. We are just flooding YouTube with shorts now. And I want to give a special thank out to our technical director, Mr. Rodney Cajudo, who's been putting all those together. He is breaking up these shows that we have been doing for the last 5 years. And he is putting out, so he's broke up all of Geek Beasts, which was on before the show, all of Bingeworthy, and he's putting out banger after banger. And you really need to check those out. I do want to thank my co-hosts. I'll start with the ones who are not with us today. So we have Centel, we have Dela, we have Catherine and Courtney who could join us today. But I especially want to thank my co-hosts who are here with me today. So we have Mr. Johnny Randolph, Randy, and again, OG, Triple OG, one of the founders of the Geekers Network himself, Mr. Charles Babb. Um, Next week, we'll be back, same bat time, same bat channel. Not exactly sure that what we're going over yet. It'll be a mystery, but there's so much great content out there that we'll have something that you definitely want to tune in for. We'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.